Today we are going to look at SD 47.2. SD 47.2. That is the Panchaka Itta Sutta. A 5.43. Okay, the Panchaka Itta Sutta. Panchaka means 5, because this sutta is found in the book of 5s in the Anguttara. There are 5 items. The original title of the sutta is Itta. Itta means whatever is desirable. 5 things which are desirable. The 5s discourse on the desirable. A 5.43. The sutta is also as an alternate name of Pancha Itta Dhamma Sutta. The 5 things which are desirable. To discourse on the 5 desirable things. So there are a couple of titles. This is a very short and interesting title, in which basically the Buddha tells us, do not just pray for anything that we want, that we desire in life. We have to live our lives in such a way that we will cultivate, that we will gain those blessings that we are looking for. In other words, just praying alone, we're not likely to get it. Okay, we may think that we are blessed with something, but the reality is, it could be a good karma. But the point is, we want something good in life, you work for it. You create the right conditions for it, then you will get those things that you need or that you want. Then again, we have to wisely consider, what is it that we really want? What is it that we really need? Are those things worthwhile? Sometimes we compare ourselves with other people and we see that they have certain things which we regard as desirable, but they are not really that useful, that good. So we have to, in other words, consider carefully what is it that we want in life. What are the things that truly make us happy, in other words. And we find that lots of teachings Buddha has given us as lay people how to be happy. As lay people, we basically have to work hard. The word karma also means work. So we work hard, we work well, and with the money, with the funds and money, the rewards that we get, we feel blessed, we feel we have worked for it, and that's called, so the first is called the joy of work, and secondly is the joy of using, or the joy of having this wealth and using it. We just have something, but we keep it, we never use it. The blessing is stuck there. Whereas when you use it, there's a great joy too. And then we save some of this money, some of this wealth for difficult times, and we share this wealth with those who are important to us, our families, relatives, friends, and so on. And of course, we use this wealth for our spiritual development. We use this wealth to celebrate life and goodness with others. And we do good works to help those who are less fortunate. So there are good reasons to be wealthy as a layperson within means. And again, another useful reflection is we can ask ourselves, how much do we really need in a lifetime, or in a day, in a year, to really lead a happy life with ourselves and others who are significant to us? This is not to say we just stop working because we have a finite sum of money. The idea is not to overwork ourselves to such an extent that we have no time for really important things in life, like mental cultivation, having quiet moments, being happy with our family and friends. So in other words, there's a kind of work-life balance, in other words. And if we can do that, then we are leading a happy Buddhist life. So a kind of, we call it a balanced life. In Pali we say Sama Jiva. So here in this sutta, the Buddha is focusing on a very important attitude that we should have, not merely hoping for things, but living a life where we attract this kind of blessings that we are looking for. The sutta opens with Anathapindika meeting the Buddha. Now, Anathapindika, as you know, is the Buddha's main lay sponsor, supporter. He is a very rich man, one of the richest in Savatthi, and he's a stream winner and is supporting this whole Sangha. In fact, he's so caring with the Buddha, he meets the Buddha 5 times a day. And yet, every time he comes to see the Buddha, he will never ask any questions, because he thought that because of his position, whatever questions he asked, the Buddha is obliged to answer. So he was quite happy sitting down all by himself. And often the Buddha would just read his mind, scan his mind, and see what he's thinking about, and then answer those questions. So this is one of those occasions when Anathapindika comes along and sits down very quietly, and then the Buddha gives this teaching. So let's look at the sutta. The translation starts on page 27. The 5th discourse on the desirable, in 5.43, originating in Savatthi. Then the house lord Anathapindika approached the Blessed One. Having approached the Blessed One, he saluted him and then sat down at one side. It's on page 27. To the house lord Anathapindika, sitting thus at one side, the Blessed One said this: House lord, there are these 5 things that are desirable, beloved, and agreeable, but difficult to obtain in the world. What are the 5? Long life, house lord, is desirable, beloved, and agreeable, but difficult to obtain in the world. Beauty is desirable, beloved, and agreeable, but difficult to obtain in the world. And then comes happiness and fame, heavenly rebirth. Right? So these are the 5 things. Right? These house lord are the 5 things that are desirable, beloved, and agreeable, but difficult to obtain in the world. Right? In other words, these are regarded as blessings, the 5 blessings of a human being: long life, beauty, happiness, fame, and heavenly rebirth. Well, heavenly rebirth is sort of afterlife, if you like. So here, we all want long life because we are people we love and we want to have a good life. And beauty here, of course, includes health also. And happiness is the ability to enjoy the blessings of what you have and being happy with those whom you love. And fame is where people respect you, you're well known for your goodness, and so on. And heavenly rebirth is good karma. In the future, your next life also you have happiness, continuing happiness, even greater happiness. So these are the basic ideas, the 5 blessings. Then the Buddha makes an important statement, section 3. Of these 5 things, house lord, that are desirable, beloved, agreeable, but difficult to obtain in the world, they are not to be obtained through prayer, ayachana hetu, or through wishing, patana hetu. Right? In other words, we don't just pray for long life. We don't just wish for long life, but do nothing about it. We don't wish for beauty or just pray for beauty, and so on. Right? So then the Buddha advises us, if these 5 things, house lord, that are desirable, beloved, and agreeable, but difficult to obtain in this world, could be obtained through prayer or through wishing, who would lack anything here? Very simple logic, right? So what the Buddha is saying, if you can pray or wish for long life, pray and wish for beauty or happiness, fame, and just wish and pray for heavenly rebirth, everybody would get all these things. But if you look around, you find not many people have all these blessings, right? So what the Buddha is saying, you can't just pray or wish for these things. So what is it we should do? So it's very practical advice, yeah? Now comes the main part of the sutta, the instructions, how to obtain what we desire, or how to rightly obtain what we desire. Section 5, then you have brackets 1. For a noble disciple, house lord, who wishes to have long life, it is not proper that he should pray for long life or take delight in doing so. He should rather follow a life that is conducive to long life. By following such a path, he would obtain long life, let it be divine or human. So there are a couple of points you must note here. Instead of praying and just wishing for something, in other words, not doing anything about it, rather live a life where you will have long life. So, of course, the Buddha does not lay out all the details. That's not his task. That in different times there are different ways of living long life. The basic rules, of course, there. I mean, eat properly, have enough rest, dress properly, don't overwork yourself, things like that, right? And get medical treatment when you are sick, and you know, medical treatment improves every generation. So, in other words, live a sensible life and keep yourself healthy, and respect your body, basically. Right? But notice the Buddha also says, whether it is human or divine. So in other words, you also have to live in such a life that you create good karma. So when you're reborn as say in a higher realm, you have long life too. And that life is a happy life too, in other words. So there's a different aspects of living the good life, in other words. So in other words, underlying this statement, there's also the hint of keeping the precepts of living bodily cultivated life. Bodily cultivated life, that means respecting life, seeing life as precious, respecting the property of others, not exploiting others, respecting the person of another, respecting truth, and clearing your mind, keeping your mind clear so that you can practice mindfulness. So those are the 5 precepts. And then the next one, next advice, section 6, this blessing number 2. For the noble disciple, house lord, who wishes to have beauty, it is not proper that he should pray for beauty or take delight in doing so. He should rather follow a way of life that is conducive to beauty. By following such a path, he should obtain beauty, be it divine or human. So here, beauty, wonder, and it means a kind of a good complexion, good health. Here again, there are other suttas which talk about health, or rather on the opposite you have ill health, roga, sickness. Now we know there are 2 kinds mentioned at least, that is physical health, mental health. So we can also speak in terms of physical beauty, mental beauty. So in other words, we feel good and comfortable and beautiful inwardly. If our minds and hearts are happy, then it is kind of shown in our faces, our actions. Right? So we have to live that kind of life where we think happy. If we don't think and feel happy, how can we show happiness? Right? So we must have lots of loving kindness, should cultivate loving kindness. We should be charitable to others, and people love us when we are charitable to others. We keep the precepts, then we have nothing to worry about. We reflect on impermanence, then we understand the nature of what we have, the nature of life, the nature of people that we care for, that they're all impermanent, so we are not traumatized when we lose them. Right? So this is how we prepare ourselves to be beautiful here and now. and of course keeping to rules of hygiene, rules of health, things like that, which most people would know. But it is much more than that. In other words, we don't just cultivate physical beauty, we must also cultivate an inner beauty, in other words. Then this beauty will grow now and continue in our future life. And the next blessing, section 7. For a noble disciple house lord who wishes to have happiness, it is not proper that he should pray for happiness or take delight in doing so. He should rather follow a way of life that is conducive to happiness. By following such a path, he would obtain happiness, be it divine or human. Happiness, sukha. Right here is a good feeling of the body. Being healthy, being basically feeling good no matter what the conditions. And in that way is able to work well, able to communicate with people well, live a social life, do our spiritual practice, and so on, right? So here again we have two kinds of happiness. We have worldly happiness and we have spiritual happiness. Worldly happiness means we have enough support of life, enough food, clothing, a good home, and good health. Then spiritual happiness, we keep the precepts, we're happy now, we're happy hereafter. So this is the way we lay the foundations of happiness in this life and the hereafter. So in other words, you want happiness, you work for it, and it is possible. So in other words, it is not bribing the gods, not bribing the spirits, and so on. I mean, sometimes you think of it as a very silly thing that people do. I mean, you go to a temple or some sacred spot, I mean, you put a bit of money there and you expect a bigger return from that sort of bribery, and that's not very helpful. On the other hand, when you actually practice all those, the teaching, which helps you to create the right conditions for happiness, then the happiness you get is worthwhile and you are worthy of it. Then blessing number 4. For a noble disciple house lord who wishes to have fame, it is not proper that he should pray for fame or take delight in doing so. He should rather follow a way of life that is conducive to fame. By following such a path, he would obtain fame, be it divine or human. Fame here, yasa. Fame here refers to a good name. People respect you, not fame in the political sense. It's a good name that we have, so that when you say something, people listen to you, you give advice, people value it, and your words are worth treasuring, they're helpful, and they bring wisdom and happiness to others. So here, this fame, you don't just pray for it, you have to behave in such a way that people respect you. You behave in a way that is conducive to widespread benefit. Society also benefits from your conduct. So, and that's the way we cultivate fame, in other words. And then the 5th blessing. For a noble disciple house lord who wishes to have rebirth in heaven, it is not proper that he should pray for rebirth in heaven or take delight in doing so. He should rather follow a way of life that is conducive to rebirth in heaven. By following such a path, he would obtain rebirth in heaven. So this is a future happiness. So how do you gain future happiness? Not just by praying or wishing for it. You live that kind of life that brings you future happiness. Here it's very clear. We create good karma. Creating good karma means you keep to the precepts. And you practice charity. You be kind to others even when they are not kind to you. You practice patience, right? And when suffering comes to you, you ask, what do I learn from this? Moments of difficulty are moments of learning, moments where we strengthen ourselves by asking ourselves, what do I do now? What do I do in this situation? If we are having success, happiness all the way, then we don't think of in this way. We are enjoying the benefits, the fruits of our good works. But when there are difficulty, you learn new things about yourself. You learn how to become stronger, how to be kinder, and in that way wisdom grows. Wisdom means learning your strengths and weaknesses. That is why the first noble truth is about suffering, because it's about learning life. So those are the 5 kinds of blessings. And of course, underlying all this, you have the famous teaching on the winds that blow to and fro. You may or may not get these things. Sometimes you get these things, you may be healthy and beautiful, but you still fall sick. So this is where we understand that there is the plus and minus aspect of this, the impermanence of it, the changing of it. Of course, this is something that Buddha doesn't mention here. Here it's just to remind us, okay, these are the things you can get, these are the things you should do. Elsewhere, the Buddha says, for example, he tells in one sutta, it tells the lay people, okay, you work hard and keep your money, your wealth, share your money in this way, you'll be happy, right? But then when the Buddha speaks to the monks, he says, okay, you work hard, you save. You see people saving money, you see people enjoying their money, but they still lose their money anyway. They're still suffering. So that teaching the Buddha reserves for the monks, because the monks already given up their wealth, so they don't have they see all the suffering, they know. So here the Buddha is giving the level of teaching which is suitable and helpful to that group of people, in other words. But the reality is still there. And when the reality comes, then the people come again to see the Buddha, then the Buddha will give them a higher teaching, and so on. So if we are wise lay people, we know, this is beautiful teaching, all these blessings are wonderful, but they are all also impermanent. So if we understand that, then we look back and say, oh yes, I've lived a happy life, I have all these blessings, and now I'm old, now I'm not so strong as before, I'm not as rich as before, but I've lived this wonderful, happy life, and now the people I care for and love, they are now happy. And you look back, you feel very happy yourself. So it's another higher kind of happiness, if you like, spiritual happiness. So then the sutta ends with 3 verses, the diligence verse. Sutta closes with the advice on making effort. This is called the one teaching. One teaching, to be diligent. Ayung arogiyang wanang sakang uccakulina natang ratio patayantena ulara aparapara. Long life, good health, beauty, heaven, high birth. For those who hope or pray for delight so great ever and again, appamadang asansanti punya kiriyasu pandita appamato ubo ate ati ganhati pandito. The wise praise diligence in the making of merit. On account of diligence, the wise benefit both ways. Both ways means in this life and hereafter. Ditte dhamme cha yo atto yo chatto samparayiko atha visamaya dhiro pandito ti pavujjati. There is the benefit here and now, and the benefit in the hereafter too. The steadfast who attains the goal is said to be wise. So here you have 2 keywords: diligence, wisdom. Diligence means putting in effort, right effort if you like. Keep on doing it. When we keep on doing it, even when we are wrong, we know we are wrong, that we correct ourselves. And when we are right, we know we are right, and we increase what is right, in other words. So that's how we learn, and we're able to learn that. That's called wisdom. So this is a very beautiful short teaching on how to be happy here and now, and also in the hereafter, in other words. Notice there's no mention here of awakening, not even mention of stream winning. Happiness here and now. But it's understood if you're happy in this way, then you ask yourself, what do I do next? Right? That's when the deeper spiritual aspects will come in. So that does now close with a short reflection. The Dhamma teaches us how to be happy here and now, as well as in the hereafter. When we reflect on the Buddha's teaching, we're also reflecting on how we should act, how to be happy, and how to make others happy. Because we cannot be happy alone. When we're happy and people around us are truly happy, then that is real happiness. Wherever we go, if we can do that, then we're practicing the Buddha's teaching. Reflecting in this way is wonderful good karma. By the power of such karma, may we be blessed with the courage and wisdom to aspire to at least attain stream winning in this life itself. By the same token, by the power of the three jewels, let us send out our loving kindness to all those who have been kind to us and supportive of us in our work. May they be well, may they be happy. To our loved ones, relatives and friends, may they be well and happy too. And to those who are practicing the Dhamma, seeking the truth, may they find the true teaching in this life itself. And those who still are unable to see the Dhamma or have difficulties with the Dhamma, may they rejoice in the true Dhamma in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.